be about racial differences and hardships for colored people. The government says that we have the same rights and freedom as everyone else, but in the long run, we kind of don't. We have been through many movements and protests to have the same rights as everyone else does. But today we seem to be continuing the fight. Like right now, we are going through the Black Lives Matter protest. Every time we always have to fight against deportation, racism, and police brutality. And that's all I have. So many immigrants always have to go through deportation because they are not documented. One of the documents that we or papers that we may have are for kids, and it's called DACA. So what DACA is, it gives children a status for until they are 18 and they go into the system as undocumented. For many children, they are in DACA, but if Donald Trump takes away DACA, then they will not have anything else, and they will probably have to go back to the country that they came from, which they're going through a war, or there's a lot of poverty, or sometimes their country just doesn't have anything that they can offer them. Every year, millions of people are being brought out of their homes that they have been in for many years now, and they pay taxes like everyone else, and the detention centers, and being brought onto a plane or a bus to be taken back to their country. While they're in those detention centers, they are very fearful about what might happen to them if they go back. They don't know if they'll be back into the. They don't know if they'll be dead the next day, or if they would be able to have a better life if they go back. But most of the times, the people that get deported are just criminals. But other times it's just not. Whenever a family member or their parents get deported and the children are left behind, usually the oldest is the one to get a job, and sometimes they have to drop out of school to be able to support their younger children. And here are some pictures of detention centers and graphs or statistics about how the deportation is and stuff. So police brutality. Police brutality is kind of a more touchy subject right now with the whole George Floyd incident with a police officer. Most of the times police officers don't get punished for them. Other times police officers just go on about their day trying to make the world a better place, but in reality they're killing many more people than criminals themselves probably. Sometimes they're killing children. Mothers are losing children every day. Kids are losing fathers, they're losing mothers. It's an unfair system that's happening about police brutality. There was a 12-year-old kid whose name is Tamir Rice, who was killed. They didn't check their vitals to make sure they were okay. They didn't see what was actually going on. The kid had a toy gun, and the officer who saw the kid shot him, and he called for backup, but they never called an ambulance. They never called nobody to make sure that he was okay. And because of that incident, a child was killed. A mother lost their child who didn't deserve to go through that. So here are some protest banners. Yeah. So racism is a very, very hard subject because racism goes into everything. There has been segregation. Police brutality is sometimes has to do with racism because sometimes cops are racist and they see a black man and they just say, "Oh, he's up to no good. Let's just stop him." Sometimes nothing is ever going on. Racism also has to do with deportation. A lot of Mexicans or Hispanics are being deported and they never did anything. But those people who are racist are ruining so much lives because that at the end of the day they don't know what that family has to go through just to be here in the next day. One of the most racial things that has ever happened is segregation. As many people know, segregation has to do where the blacks couldn't be with the whites. The black people had to sit in the back in the bus, and if a white person was in the bus and the white section didn't have a seat for them, a black person had to stand up for them. And one of the most famous person who told a white person no is Rosa Parks. She told somebody no, and she went to jail just because of that. When in reality, she shouldn't have given her seat up because she is a lady. If you are a gentleman, you should be giving your seat up for a lady, not the other way around. Even if you're a person of color. Another activist that helped with the movement is Martin Luther King. Martin Luther King went through all of Tennessee, created a peaceful protest, and at the end of the day, we now have more rights than that he gave us with just helping with the protests. And yeah. And then here are, as you can see, are Jim Crow signs. Jim Crow signs are something that will tell where a person of color and a white person can go. Here are also some protests. And so the next time that you ever want to think of something that a person has to go through, like deportation or police brutality or even racism, just know that whatever you do can also affect that person in the long run, and that this whole country has to stop things like this because stuff like this can get a person killed that you don't know what will happen. You don't know if you deporting that person got them killed the next day, or a police officer killed a child, somebody who was 3 years old. So